So today we're receiving Frédéric Adjiwanou. Hello, Frédéric. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good, guys. Thank you very much for receiving me here today. I
Well,
really
well,
appreciate it.
thank you. It's a pleasure for us to have you here. So as we know, you were a basketball player back in the days. Can you?
Track and field,
Cool.
and I pretty much discovered playing basketball with one of my best friend, whose dad used to work in New York, but my friend was living in France, so every Wednesday we used to go to his house and just chill, watch basketball game, and one time he came, he was like, yeah. I got this big game, on VHS. That was back in the day. So we came to his spot. So he put the videotape in, and it was the Chicago Bulls against Boston Celtics. It was Jordan against Bird, and I watched this game, and I was like, damn, I love these sports, like the atmosphere that was around, the people, sharing, and it was a great game, and then I came home the same afternoon. It was a Wednesday afternoon because back in the days, you didn't have class, in the afternoon. So it was like freedom. And I came home and I told my mom, I want to play basketball. And my mom looked at me like she said, what? She said, basketball, what is it? And I was like, oh, this is this game. You have a ball, you have to put it in a basket. And she was like, what is it? She didn't know nothing about it. Never, never high. But that's pretty much how I got into basketball, and I got into basketball really because my cousin that used to run track also,
Yeah.
she's the only one who backed me up when I took that decision to play basketball. The rest of my family, they were like, "You lazy, you start something, you don't finish it, and everything." And well, after I choose to play basketball 5 years after that, and when I signed my first contract, they were like, "You did great." Then I was like, yeah, right." And so, yeah, this is the story.
And during these 5 years that you said, did you went to INSEP, which is where all the French basket players are going into formation?
No, actually, I didn't do that. Like, I started playing basketball when I was 11, 10 years old, 11, 12 years old. And what I did, I was playing in a little team in this little club in my born city in Almas, Haute-Savoie. And I was playing the U13, U15, U17. And when I was in the U17 team, my coach was playing with all the team, like with the seniors, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna coach you. You have potentials, but what would be good is like if you can play with the U17, and you can also come with us, with the seniors and play." So that's what happened. So everything went pretty much fast. Like I had a great season, the team also, and it was back in the 1998, right before the France won the World Cup, and yeah, the first World Cup. And after that, like I said, everything went fast. So I left one weekend. Like my coach, who used to play for Limoges, back in the days, in the academy, took me over there for a weekend. I had a few practices, tests, and they liked me. And 2 weeks after that, Jacques Monclar, who was coaching at the time, who's today is a commentator for beIN Sports for NBA Extra, called me back, and we had like a big selection like in Paris, and I can say this is how my career started. Just like with a few decisions, but I don't regret it. It was all good.
Pretty good start.
Yeah, very very good start. And
Yeah,
so at
yeah,
18,
yeah.
you.
So I didn't go to INSEP. I didn't go
Yeah.
through the big gate, if I can say that.
Yeah, but you didn't go, but you started pretty soon to play professional at Limoges. Can you say a little bit
Yeah,
more about
a
this
little bit
time in
more.
your career?
Well, Limoges was to me. I'm gonna be honest. When I went to Limoges, I didn't know nothing about Limoges. All I knew was like I heard about basketball. You know what I mean? I mean, I used to follow basketball, but uh, in my teenage time, we used to talk about the NBA a lot. Like European basketball was about uh, the ex, Russia, ex URSS. It was Yugoslavia, and it was this big war at the time because in the 90s and 2000, I would say the 90s, sports was always affiliated with politics. Like when you hear about all those stories about the U.S. against Russia or Yugoslavia, it was always something like, even like when you talk about the Olympics with Jesse Owens, it was always about sports, but behind it was always a political war. Who's going to be the best nation? We have the best weapon, so we have the best athletes and everything. It was all this. So to me, when I went to Limoges, I was like looking at sports only overseas in the NBA. Michael Jordan, the Celtics, the Knicks, like when the Knicks used to be good, they used to be like a team, but nowadays, it's kind of hard for them. But I was really like this. So when I went to Limoges, I was just following pretty much like the flow, like my intuition, and I always asked my mom, I was like, Mom, what should I do? She was like, well, how do you feel about it? I was like, this is how I feel. She was like, well, just go for it. You know what I mean? I was following your intuition. So when I got to Limoges, it was like, damn, I'm in Limoges. All I know about it is that there's Dakuri, play there. They won the equivalent, the European championship. The only team in French basketball, and I was like, I'm actually like in a big place. This is the equivalent of like Olympique de Marseille, like back in the days. And I'm like, okay. And everything went fast because I met a lot of old players, from Limoges, like Apollo Faye, who is a legend out there. Then Richard Dacoury, who gave me also like a nickname, later on down my career. And everything was great. My first year, I was coach. I played with the youth team, which is like what we call in France the espoir, and I was practicing with the professional team, with the big time. And I was like, damn, this is good. But I was like 2 meters or two. I was skinny. I weighed like 90 kilos, and I was playing against professional players, like my height, but like 105 kilos, big, strong, and everything. So I was like, well, if I'm out here, it got to be a reason. So just listen to the coach, just keep working hard, and good things will happen. So I never really planned everything. At the beginning of my career, I was just like, this is a blessing. It's happening. Just go with it. So my first year was good. I had a few games, with the pros, like in the French league. And then my second year, actually, the professional team changed the coach. So Jacques Monclar left, and they brought in Dushko Ivanovic. I will let you guys go on Google and type his name, Dushko Ivanovic. When you see his face, you're going to understand a lot of things. Like coaches from, Eastern Europe have that reputation to work hard, you know what I mean? And they have no mercy. But actually, it's not about mercy. What they really believe that if you work hard, you're going to get results. And the second year when Dushko Ivanovic came, we learned that, it's going to be something that we never experienced. It's going to be hard. But even though this coach has a big reputation as being like a hard coach, he taught us one thing, like fatigue doesn't exist. Fatigue is in your head. And if you come up together as a team, as a whole, you can make a lot of things happen. So my first year was like a learning experience. I was a rookie. My second year, I jumped straight up from like a rookie to being a vet. Because the coach did believe that every single player on the team have the same status. No matter if you are young, if you're old, if you're a pro, if you're a rookie, if you're French, if you're European, if you're American, it was like everybody's on the court wearing the same jersey. So whoever's going to be good is going to play. That was his philosophy. In my second year, I played with Marcus Brown, who he is one of the best American who ever played in the EuroLeague. And when you have a player like this, like with that type of caliber, and you have Jan Bonato, like great player, great French player, like he's a legend. And when you see those players, really listening to what coach has to say, and they actually sacrifice, what they have to sacrifice to make it happen, well, it's a learning experience that you only get in those type of team. It would have took me maybe 7 years, to get all that experience, but I was thankful enough to have it in one season, and it was a perfect season because we won everything. It was magical, and at the same time, Limoges had like financial issues, so we didn't know if the players gonna get paid. And the story is that a lot of players, pretty much like cut down their paycheck to help the team, and they kept playing, and they won everything. So to me, it's just magical. Like it's just like those type of moments that you live once in your life, and next year is we're gonna celebrate like the 20 years, of the titles. But when you live, it's been 20 years, and I don't think any other French team ever done it. When you know that the team as big as Limoges, who has no money, we don't even know if they're gonna play the next game. The players cut down the paycheck. You got the entire city behind you. The games are full, and you end up the season winning everything. What else?
Yeah, that means a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, that means a lot. And then just after winning this title and played with Limoges, you went to the US to pursue your dream to become an NBA player.
Well, it was, like I said, at the beginning, I was like, I never planned, my career. Yes, I did after, when I came back to France, by choosing the team that I wanted to play for. But like, it's kind of crazy because, people say that a lot of my friends, call me Mr. Chance. They're like, Fred, man, you're so lucky. You always end up at the right spot. It's like one day I'm turning on the TV, I'm going to see the president, and I'm going to see your face next to it. It's like, you're always there at the right spot at the right time. And I'm like, that's what you're saying. But I just literally, I always follow my intuition. And it always been like that. My intuition never got me wrong, never got me wrong so far. And the way I left was, like you said, it's a small world. When you have different people, a lot of people that know each other, that's exactly what happened. My agent, Buna Njai at the time, used to collaborate with Olivier Saint-Jean. Olivier Saint-Jean whose name, he changed his name into Tariq Abdul-Wahad, who's the first French player to play in the NBA. They were working together. And the same summer, the summer of 2000, he organized his first basketball camp in California, when his goal was to actually bring French players to show them, like the US, to show them what it takes to actually make it to the NBA, as far as like training, facilities and everything. So my agent called me, was like, yeah, Tariq is organizing this basketball camp. Do you want to go? I said, yeah. I said, let me go see. I said, where? He said, in California. I said, hell yeah, let me go. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to Cali. So I was really like, I was more excited about going to Cali to go see the Golden Gate Bridge than to think about the NBA, basketball and all that. I was just going over there to discover, to spend, my birthday over there, and everything. I was like, I'm going to be in the U.S. It's going to be great. So when I got there, before I got there, I spoke to Tariq, and he explained me what he wanted to accomplish. And his goal was to actually bring the French player for like his basketball camp to play in different tournaments, at the time, and with American coaches there, so they can see, like the potential, because all the French players that came to that camp, we were all professional, like semi-pro or professional, you know what I mean, like espoir or pro. And when that happened, it was like, damn, let me go see our sports over there. Let me go see our basketball. But I never thought about the NBA. Before that, I never thought about the NBA. I was just like thinking about go find a team out there and go play basketball in America. That's it. That's what it was.
And then just afterwards, you played like for 4 years in the US. and I think
I played
three in
five
the
years.
5 years.
Yeah, actually, it's like four and five because I played 2 years in junior college. 2 years in junior college, and then the process in the US is even you go to college for 4 years. You got your freshman, junior. I mean freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year, or you can do 2 years in junior college, which is like another school institutions, and you do 2 years in college. So you do 2 years in junior college, 2 years in college, or 4 years, full 4 years in college. So I did two and two. The only thing is that I played 3 years in college. Why? Because my second year in junior college, the basketball program got canceled, so I didn't play. So I was eligible to 4 years of playing, but I only play three. So the NCAA gave me a year back. So this is why I played. I spent 3 years in college. That's why.
Okay,
That's
and
why. Yeah.
so just after these years into college, you went to the NBA draft in 2005.
I didn't put my name in the NBA draft. I didn't put my name, in the draft. But since I was a senior, I got invited by the Dallas Mavericks, to play in the summer league, in the summer of 2005. What happened is that I never played because they took too many players and I got left out. So that was, for me, that was my first fell down, if I may say that, because I wanted to start playing basketball. I was looking at all these years that I spent on the basketball court, all the sacrifices that I had made, and I was like, I'm this close, to actually knock at the door of the NBA. And it's not because of me, you know what I mean? I couldn't control the fact that they took too many players. So I was disappointed, and I talked to my agent, and he was like, Fred, you know what? It was like, I'm going to find you a team. Because the beautiful thing about basketball is that you can play back in France and in Europe. It's not like American football. And even at the time, American football, they had the NFL Europe, but it was only a few teams, and it wasn't as big as in the US. But it was like basketball, you can play basketball anywhere in the world. So I'm going to make sure that you find a team. And that summer of 2005, didn't play, in the NBA Summer League, but I met my wife. So at the end of the day, I think it was a win-win situation for me.
Yeah, of course. And so back at this time, what did you think about your career? Were you still hoped to play into the NBA, or just go back to
Oh
France
yeah.
and do your career?
Well, I had hopes that I would have my shot again, to actually play to be a part of the NBA somehow, some way, because the fact that I was supposed to play with the Mavericks was my second my third opportunity to be a part of the NBA family. Why? Because after my first year in JUCO, I had a great season, and I was invited to a tournament in Los Angeles, and three NBA team wanted to see me. But that summer, I was going back to Africa, and I haven't been back to Africa in 10 years. So my coach always told me that family always got to come first. So he didn't tell me. So he let me took my flight, I went to Africa, had a great summer, it was great. And when I got back, he told me that, well, there was the tournament in LA, and three NBA teams wanted to see you. And I was like, who? I was like, which team? He was like, the Nets, the Blazers, and the Nuggets. I was like, damn. I was like, damn, kid. Why you didn't tell me? He was like, I would tell you that family first, and I knew that if I would have told you that before you left, you would have canceled your trip, and try to make it. He was like, the lesson is that you're gonna have over opportunities, and everything comes at the right time. So that was my first one. My second one was I was in college in 2004. I was invited to the big man camp in Las Vegas, which is like one of the biggest camps organized by Peat, who's like a great coach. He's like an individual personal trainer for like NBA players. And at the time, I was invited, and I had just got back from Africa. The thing is that when I got to Las Vegas, I got sick. I had like headaches, migraines, and everything. Well, pretty much I got malaria.
So I was in Africa for a month. Mosquitoes got me, gave me that virus, and the virus started when I was in Vegas. So I missed the camp. I spent 5 days at the hospital. I lost 13 kilos. Yeah, it was like, it was a big mess. And then in 2005, there's the opportunity with the Mavericks that didn't happen. I was like, if it happened to me once, twice, only 3 times, it's going to be another opportunity. It's going to be another opportunity. And in 2007, I finally had the opportunity, and I played with the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas and Salt Lake City.
The good thing about, the opportunity that I had with the Spurs was that, well, look, you played with a great organization. They won a lot of NBA trophies. They actually had legends, as players like Tim Duncan, David Robinson, who was one of my idols. It was like at the end of the day, I spent like a great month, with them. And I was only supposed to spend like the first week, with them in Las Vegas. And at the end, I didn't have that much playing time. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm done. And the coach and his wife, we met them. We were like in Las Vegas, and we met them. And he told my wife, he was like, Fred is a great man and everything. And we would like him to come with us, in the second part of the trip. And I was like, she looked at me and I was like, okay. I'm like, when you have, honestly, what's the chance of like most players are going to play with like any type of NBA team? If they want to leave, they're going to let them leave. But then you get the coach asking me, to come with them. And he was like, he's a great guy and he hasn't like bunch at all. I know he doesn't play a lot and everything, but he's been a great guy in the group and all that. So to me, that was like his way to show me his respect for who I was, and not as a basketball player, just as a human being. So I was like, shoot, you got a coach telling you to come? Let's go. Who knows? Who knows? So I went there. I went with them in Salt Lake City. I celebrated my birthday with them. Great players, great experience. And until this day, I talked to a few of the coaches, that were coaching the Spurs, NBA Summer League team. And it's great memories, I cannot complain. But at the end of the day, it's like I have my little shiny moments, in the NBA, if I may say that. After that, I played in Europe, in France, and I pretty much followed all my friends, from Ronnie Choriaf to Yann Mahimi to Mike Gelabal, all those guys that, all my agent, first players, in the NBA, Didier Benga, and I was out there, in the city, following them, inviting me to their games. We walk out together. So yes, I had my own NBA career, if I can say that. But great moments, It's not that many players who can say that they had the chance to go to the States, because like Tariq Abdouad, the first French player, to make it out there, had his vision, at the time to do that. It's not anybody who can say that, I was like the first athlete, of my agent. And then today, when you look at him, he has Rudy Gobert, Nicolas Batum, it's a big family. We are a big family. So when you look at it, can I complain? No, I don't think so. It's a great experience. It's a great experience.
And this will be all for today. And if you want to find out more about Fred's story with the San Antonio Spurs, just come back next week for our second episode of the Peat Podcast, and we hope to see you there. Bye-bye.